Since I grew up in church, I had a lot of questions about God when I was a kid, and that didn't really stop as I got older. But I did hear a new question during my freshman year of college in my philosophy class. Can God create a rock so big he can't lift it? This is a common riddle or question about God, and I think it's a good question to help us better understand and think about God's nature. This is an interesting question, because it seems like if we say yes, then we're undermining God's power because he cannot create that large rock. However, if we say no, then we're also undermining God's power because we're saying that he cannot lift that large rock. So either way, we're saying that God is not all-powerful because there is something he cannot do. However, there's a problem with this question because it assumes that God being all-powerful means that God can do anything. This may sound odd, but the Christian understanding of God as being all-powerful doesn't mean that God can do anything, but that God can do anything that power can do. This means that whatever God has the ability to do must be logically possible and consistent with his nature. Logic is grounded in God's nature, and since God can't violate his own nature, this means that God can only do things that are logically possible. God can do things that are impossible for people because he's all-powerful, but he's also all-rational, which means that anything that he can do must be logically consistent and logically possible, and he can't do anything that's logically impossible. This question of if God can create a rock so large that he can't lift it actually has two separate questions built into this question. The first question is, can God create a rock of any size? And the answer is yes. And the second question is, can God lift a rock of any size? And the answer is also yes. There's nothing logically inconsistent about an all-powerful being able to both create a rock of any size and lift a rock of any size. This question assumes from the beginning that there's a limitation in God. The setup of this question is similar to the question, have you stopped beating your mother? Which has a hidden assumption in it already that at some point you were beating your mother. The same is true with the question, can God create a rock so big he can't lift it? This question assumes from the beginning that there's a limitation to God and there's something he can't do. So we can't answer the mother beating question or the question about God creating a large rock with a simple yes or no. It's more complicated than that. Also, when someone says, can God create a rock so big he can't lift it, they're also kind of making a category error. See, rocks by definition are finite since their shape has boundaries. So rocks can be big, but they can't be infinitely big. Therefore, any finite rock is always able to be moved by an infinite, all-powerful being like God. So, I guess technically the answer to this question is no, God cannot create a rock so big he can't lift it. But this isn't a weakness of God, this is actually a strength, pun intended, of God, because God can create a rock of any size and is also able to lift that rock of any size no matter how big it is. This question also shows us that God is logically consistent since the laws of logic are grounded in his nature. This means that God cannot do anything that's logically impossible, such as creating a square circle, a married bachelor, or a rock so big he can't lift it. Please like and subscribe for more videos that share God's love through apologetics, and remember, Jesus loves you.